So you want to do a Disney cruise over the holidays in 2024, and the world is your oyster. In this video, we're going to recap what we saw in parts 1 through 4. We're going to just discuss the top pick from each of those videos and figure out which is the best of all of the magic, regardless of hemisphere. We are going to look at what Disney brings to the table for the 2024 holiday cruise season. Hey, welcome to This is the Cruise. I'm Clint, and this is the channel where we look at future cruise itineraries and try to figure out if this is the cruise for you. And this has been such a fun series for me to put together. In part 1, we looked at Disney cruises from Fort Lauderdale. In part 2, we looked at Disney cruises from Galveston. In part 3, we looked at Disney cruises from the exotic Australia and New Zealand, for me exotic. And then in part 4, we looked at cruises from the mother port of Port Canaveral, aka Orlando. And I covered some reasons why you would want to choose a Disney cruise in those. And so I'm not going to belabor the point, but what truly makes Disney different is that they're able to anticipate needs you didn't even know you had. Other cruise lines are able to meet all of your needs, but Disney is able to meet the ones that you didn't know were there. And there's something magical about that. And I got to give them credit. It's pretty amazing. We're not going to rehash all of that stuff. We're just going to talk about what we're looking at here and get right into the itineraries. We're kind of focused on itineraries that leave between December 20th and January 5th. That's generally the holiday season in 2024. And the itineraries kind of really set, they start towards the end of November and kind of settle in. So if you see one you like, it is highly possible that it's happening earlier in the season, and know that the later the date, the more expensive they get. In part 1, we looked at Fort Lauderdale, as I mentioned. In part 2, Galveston. Part 3, Sydney and Auckland. In part 4, Port Canaveral. So let's look at what the best cruises were in each of those departure ports. Before I dig in, like and subscribe if you would. It really helps me out, really helps the channel out, helps me keep that content coming. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Okay, so part 1, the winner from Fort Lauderdale was the 5-night Bahamian cruise from Fort Lauderdale was the name of it. It leaves on December 16th. This one is $3,000 cheaper than the one that leaves on December 30th. Same exact itinerary, goes to Nassau, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, Castaway Key, and then has a sea day. For Clint's cruisability score, variety, this one got a 2, repeatability of 5.5, adventure 5.5, enrichment 3.25, relaxation 6.5, and a ship score of 4 from Cruise Critic. It also got a novelty bonus of 3. That brings our total up to 29.75. The winner from our Galveston itineraries was a 6-night Western Caribbean cruise from Galveston. This one leaves on December 23rd. And unlike the one from Fort Lauderdale, this one actually cruises over Christmas. So you're going to leave from Galveston. You have a day at sea. That will be December 24th. You'll have a day at sea. That will be Christmas Day. Then you'll spend a day in Georgetown the day after Christmas in Grand Cayman. Then a day at Cozumel, Mexico. And then you have a sea day getting back. Galveston can be a challenging cruise to cruise from if you really, really want to get to certain ports, because it is kind of far away from everything. So it's got to cross the Gulf of Mexico to get anywhere. So just know that you're always going to have kind of that sea day leaving and a sea day coming. It's just how it is. But it's also very accessible to like 5 million people in Texas can drive to the port. That's pretty great. This itinerary gets a Clint's cruisability score, variety of 2, 5 for repeatability, an adventure score of 6, an enrichment score of 4.5, relaxation score of 5.5, a ship score of 4.5. It's on the Disney Magic, if I didn't mention that, for a total of 27.5. Our part 3 winner from Sydney or Auckland was actually the 4-night Disney Magic at Sea cruise from Sydney. This leaves December 24th. Again, you're going to be cruising over Christmas. So on the 24th, you leave from Sydney. You have a day at sea, that will be Christmas Day. And then the day after Christmas, you are in Hobart, Australia. And then you have a sea day coming back. None of the Australian or Auckland cruises had multiple destinations. Unfortunately, they were all pretty short, but this was the best of the bunch. This one gets a Clint's Cruisability score variety of 1, a repeatability of 7.5, adventure of 7.5, an enrichment score of 7, a relaxation score of 4.5, and it's on the Disney Wonder, which gets a score of 4 for a total score of 31.5. Part 4's winner, leaving from Port Canaveral, was a 7-night Western Caribbean from Port Canaveral after Christmas, over New Year's. So that's not too bad. So on the 28th, you leave Port Canaveral, you have a sea day on December 29th, Cozumel on December 30th, Georgetown, Grand Cayman on December 31st. You'll celebrate New Year. That's New Year's Eve. That night, I'm sure there's going to be parties going on. The next morning, you wake up in Jamaica. That's not a bad way to go from 2024 to 2025. I can get behind that. Then you have a day at sea, and then you get to Castaway Cay, and then you cruise back to Port Canaveral. This cruise gets a Clint's Cruisability score, variety of 5, repeatability of 6, adventure of 7.5, enrichment score of 3.25, relaxation gets a score of 6. This one is on the brand new, not even sailing at the time of recording this video, Disney Treasure. So it gets a ship score of 4.5 because of the unknowns. That's the average Disney ship score on Cruise Critic. New ships can have some problems, but they're all always shiny and new. So there's pros and cons there. And when I say they have problems, sometimes they're just kind of getting some of the wrinkles ironed out. You know, it's Disney. There aren't going to be very many wrinkles, let's be honest. This also gets a novelty bonus of 3. That brings our Clint's Cruisability total score up to 35.25. And if you've had a pencil out and you've been keeping track, you will find out that that is the cruise. If I were to ask myself, Clint, what is it? What is the cruise? Which one should I go on? It's got to be this 7-night from Port Canaveral on the Disney Treasure. You just can't beat that itinerary. It really is pretty close to perfect given the port to sea day ratio. I love that about this one. You start in the United States, you go to Mexico, you go to Grand Cayman, you go to Jamaica, and you go to the Bahamas and Castaway Cay. That's 5 countries, and you have 4 stops. We count the United States as part of your itinerary. That's pretty great. So I gotta give hats off here to Disney on this itinerary. It's a wonderful itinerary. And I want to know, are you going on a Disney holiday cruise in 2023, the time I'm recording this video? Are you planning on going on one in 2024 or 2025? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really want to hear about your Disney experiences, and I look forward to cruising with you again soon.